So you've gotten the idea of going from the words to the symbols and how to get their subscript or their numbers. What if I were giving you not the words, but give you the actual symbols, and you have to name them? Okay, that'll be a skill you'll need. You'll see it maybe written on a bottle. You'll say, well, where's that? What element is that? That's iron sulfate or chromium nitrate or something. So the process for that is given right here. You're going to take and look at the element symbols. They'll be like FeNO3 or something along those lines. You're going to name every element as they appear in that symbol. So let's take CaBr2. Okay. You can name each element. First one, Ca is calcium. And here's bromine. Okay, bromine. The second is when there are two elements like that, two elements, you just drop the last syllable for bromine and you change it to ide. So instead of calcium bromide, you go to calcium bromide. Okay, where that doesn't work are a couple of elements that are already, oops, that's supposed to be nitrogen and phosphorus. Oh, I have it in here. Hydrogen, you drop two syllables and becomes hydride. Oxygen becomes two syllables drop and becomes oxide, nitride, or phosphide. Okay, so if I were to have something like NAP, okay, the elements there are going to be sodium and phosphorus. This becomes, this one's up here, sodium phosphide. Okay, that's the name for Na3P. Now, polyatomic ions do not change their symbol. So if you see something like sulfate or nitrate or carbonate, you don't change those. They just are left alone. So sodium sulfite is the name of that compound. You don't have to drop the last syllable and become side. Matter of fact, ide is the term they typically use for a single element, where ite and ate are the things that will key you to say, oh, that's a polyatomic ion. Don't forget when you're writing out in the long form that the transition metals, those that are in the bottom of the periodic table, that don't earn columns, and there's some ways that these metals way down here, okay, these absolutely need a Roman numeral. These ones, sometimes if they're not doing what their column says above, if they're not being +4 in this column, for instance, then you do need to write a Roman numeral there as well when they're not acting like they should be. So that's called a poor metal, those underneath the staircase, but they're over there in the non-metals. Okay, they have to have Roman numerals to tell you, because otherwise you wouldn't know. And last one, we'll deal with covalent compounds later. So we're gonna stop right there in terms of naming, because I'll get to those as a whole separate class. Okay, so let's work on this next set of problems in the worksheet.